Again, second, we're going over one of the best dispute letter methods for credit sweeps, and that is the squeaky wheel method or tactic. You can call it whatever you want, but this is something that I use all the time, and the premise behind it is becoming the biggest pain in the butt that you possibly can so that they just don't want to deal with you and they remove whatever it is. All right, so I'm going to show you what it is. We're going to go over it, and then I'm going to show you where to access it if you want. All right, also, as always, smash that like, subscribe if you haven't done so, so that you can obviously remove your negative items and increase your credit scores. All right, because that is what we are here to do, and we've been doing it for 9 years now. All right, so happy Sunday. Let's get to it. As always, again, there's always a second part of this. If you want to see if I can personally do a credit sweep for you, you're just very simply going to go to my740.com and schedule a call with me, and I will see if I can help. Well, I'm booked tomorrow, but anyways, there's other days of the week. So here's the deal. We've been on a playbook type of series lately. All right, collections playbook, the credit sweep secrets playbook, and now we are on dispute tactics. So we have a dispute tactics playbook. All right, first of all, I'm going to show you where to access it, and yes, we are looking at my screen here, so hopefully I don't have a typo in this, but let's go back this way. Here we go. Got to access this. It is sendme2.co/tactics. All right, now why do we want to do this? Well, it's actually fairly straightforward. There are way more than 66 dispute letter tactics here because it's not getting easier. It is getting more difficult to remove these things from your credit report. So if you do not have a full arsenal of, just tactics to go after the bureaus, you are literally just going to be putting your credit life in the hands of the bureaus, and we don't want to do that. All right, so we have 4 different levels on here, over 66 different tactics. Again, you can go to sendme2.co/tactics. All right, and you can actually save $100. Why are you going to save $100? Well, because this is a product launch. All right, so you have 3 days to do that, starting tonight. But we're going to look at this, and just so that you can know what's actually included in this, and I do have a video that I posted earlier about this, but we have everything from basic dispute process to dealing with violations. This is for the bureaus, the creditors, the collectors, how to deal with your collections, charge off your possessions, how to make complaints with the FTC, the BBB, the CFPB, the AG, the KO technique for, removing collections, the omission technique, 100-word statements, which I don't generally like to deal with, okay? How to dispute and settle accounts, pay and pray approach, late payment, catch up, initial, I hit my mic, initial validation, so on and so forth. We have a fazillion different tactics here. There's 253 pages of it. I actually took this from my PDF version and I made it digital. All right, so let me go and see if I can pull this up over here. We're looking specifically at the squeaky wheel method, and what the heck is the squeaky wheel? Let's go find out. So this is applicable for credit bureaus, collectors, and creditors. All right, so let's look at this together. Hopefully you can see my screen. I know that one, for me to do this, I cannot stream as landscape. It has to be vertical or whatever. So it makes it portrait. There we go. That's what I was looking for. So it makes it a little bit more difficult to see my screen. So I do apologize sincerely. All right. So is there really a method called the squeaky wheel method? I mean, not really. This is something that we came up with, but we decided that the concept is such an important one for credit repair success that we ought to create a squeaky wheel, right? If you think of a wheel with all the spokes, we want to hit every single one of them. Okay. So that's really where that came from. So this method is also known as being persistent. In the beginning, what I said was becoming the biggest pain in the butt so that these, they just say, hey, you know what? We just want them to go away. We don't want to deal with them, all right? So this involves making noise, writing letters, filing complaints, and being a general pain in the butt. And note that the primary time you should employ the squeaky wheel method is when either you or your client isn't at risk of further damage. You're not going to get, sued. You're going to look at all the risks that could potentially occur when you are, putting the limelight on yourself, because you don't want to be like, here I am, sue me. All right. So you are going to have the upper hand either way. So examples of scenarios fitting the squeaky wheel method might be a paid collection account, a paid charge off, an unpaid collection past the statute of limitation, and cases that don't involve outstanding balances like late payments, inquiries, where someone has violated the law or is blatantly ignoring their legal requirements. All right. Any issue on which a credit bureau is failing to act in accordance with the law, which is literally like everything, right? Or they don't respond. If they do respond, they're not doing this, or they didn't put the, required notice of dispute within the specific time period, which is 30 days. Those are just violations. All right. So here are some examples of follow-up tactics that may be used as part of the squeaky wheel approach. All right. So BBB complaints, Attorney General complaints, FTC complaints, FCC complaints, bank complaints, state rep, state attorney general method, date verified method, omissions tactic, letter from an attorney or prepaid legal, repeated method of verification requests, letters to corporate officers and board members, identity theft affidavit, police reports where appropriate. Why am I slowing down and saying where appropriate? That's because I posted a video the other day where I was reminding you that if you are not a victim of identity theft, you should not be using the credit sweep for identity theft. All right. Millions of consumers use this when they weren't supposed to. And because of that, now if you are a victim of fraud, you are not getting those negative items deleted in 4 or 5 business days. No, honey, you are not. Why? Because there were people who used this method when they weren't supposed to. Okay. So various direct creditor and collector disputes, direct letters with, CCs to attorneys, BBB, state attorney general, FTC, FCC, etc. All right. And complaints to the local media and consumer advocates. So why is this so strong? Well, this is strong because you're not just sending out one letter. You're not just contacting the bureaus. You're contacting the bureaus, the creditors, the collectors. You're making your complaints. You are calling, you are faxing, you are emailing, you're sending certified mail. You are getting lawyers involved. Even if it's, like I said, prepaid legal, all it takes is a stamp and meaning that little thing that they stamp on there that says, hey, we are an attorney's office, whatever. And these things can actually make waves, okay? So how do you go about using this method? Well, first of all, you need to know what you're doing. You don't want to make waves in the wrong place with the wrong people, because then you put yourself or your client in the wrong limelight again. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to find those things that apply to this tactic where you can become a pain in the butt. I'm going to say something else, but I don't want to be demonetized. And you are going to go after everybody that you can possibly think of. Okay. You literally want to be, and I'm going to repeat this again, that person that they just want to boot out the door and flick away like a, getting a piece of dust off their shoulder, okay? So now, are there other tactics that you can employ? Yeah, and guess what? If you go to this link that I'm giving you, sendme2.co/tactics, you can access all of these different tactics here. This is the largest dispute letter tactics library. I can promise you that, okay? And you're going to get things like the FCBA wish list method, and, literally it covers everything. Like if you go back and you look at that video I posted prior to this one, you're literally going to see where I went over every single one of them. And there's also a silent, view only, no audio overview that literally scrolls down the entire table of contents on the sales page. So if you want to access this and you want to save $100, right now, you get a cash discount, all right? So you can go over to that link and you can access it. But the way I use this is very, very simple. So this is going to generally be used with my clients that are in my full program, not my monthly program, just because it takes so much time and effort and money to do this, right? Time is money, but I'm talking about actual physical cash, okay? So I don't just go after the bureaus like I mentioned. I am doing middle of the month disputes. I'm doing CFPB, AG, BBB, FTC complaints. I'm disputing literally and complaining to everybody, okay? With the collectors, I'm using the validation of debt. With the original creditors, I'm using the validation of debt and the 623 letters. With the bureaus, I'm going after them factually. If it is the bureaus for collections, then I'm also using the unknown tactic. Then I go and I make my complaints in a specific order, and then I also send copies of those over to whoever I made those complaints against with another round of disputes. So there's a lot that goes into this, but when you do this the right way, you expedite the deletion of the negative items from the credit report, and that is our entire prerogative here, okay? So there's so many things that you can do. I mean, you're not just limited to just writing a letter to the credit bureaus, and you shouldn't limit yourself as far as, you know, what it is that you can do, okay? And I hope that wasn't redundant, but there's some offices where, you know, you didn't even know that you can actually make noise there. Now, I think I have some extra notes on here, so let's read this part together. Squeaky Wheel, some final thoughts. All right. The methods and ideas covered in the section that we went over are all part of what we call the squeaky wheel. And this basically means make noise. So this sort of thing is most effective when the consumer has been wronged and there's a clear course that can be taken to resolve the problem. If the creditor, collector, or bureau hasn't actually done anything wrong, what is there to make noise about? So you want to make sure that you have your violation log, and you can find a violation log actually as part of this playbook, all right? So as far as that goes, there's one more thing to keep in mind, and it is that there are other ways to be a squeaky wheel besides what's covered here. And you can literally use anything from local newspapers to consumer advocates to lawsuits to organizations who protect consumers in particular categories such as disabled consumers or minorities, all right? So stop limiting what you think can be used against them and start to expand, you know, what you think you can do, all right? Also covered in this is I have, I think, 8 different, so this is 7, 8, yes, I have 8 different specific dispute examples, and they cover things like HIPAA, the HIPAA process, the collector wish list tactic. All of these different tactics are not in my other 2 playbooks, okay? The credit sweep secrets playbook and the collection playbook, these are not in there. We have the QWR RESPA strategy for mortgages, the multi-letter shuffle, repo 2-year 2-step, credit bureau checkmate technique, stopping collector phone calls, the collector wish list tactic, the HIPAA process, like I mentioned, HIPAA letter 1, HIPAA letter 2, HIPAA letter 3, step 5, step 6, step 7 for HIPAA actually goes to 8. No, I'm sorry, step 9, and then step 10, file a HIPAA complaint. You see how the complaint comes last? Normally, that's what you do with the CFPB as well, okay? So stop going to, you know, these different places, making complaints when you have nothing to complain about yet, all right? You actually have to have proof that there's been some sort of wrongdoing, okay? We also go over how to clean up late payments, removing late payments, charge-offs, multiple charge-offs for a single account, removing charge-offs, removing collections, outdated derogatory items, removing or correcting outdated, re-aging, student loans, bankruptcy, foreclosures, repossessions, removing them, judgments, tax liens, hard inquiries, merged credit files, so on and so forth. So if you want to access this and you want to get in on all of these other tactics outside of everything that we've talked about over the past 9 years with 1,200 videos, actually, sorry, more than 1,200 videos, then again, the link is right here. Send me to .co/tactics. That is going to take you to my sales page where you're going to find another video that literally goes over every single one of the things that are included, all right? And obviously the pricing is on there and everything, but you have 3 days to save $100 on this version only. You are going to find 2 different things on there. Number 1, the PDF version, which is also discounted, but that is going to be the one for $197. And if you want to access this one, it is only $97, and you're going to find that as the cash discounted offer on there. That is going to last for 3 days. So we're going to be talking about a couple of things over the next 3 days directly from this, so you can see how awesome it is, because it is the largest dispute letter tactics library, and you can get it right now. All right, so if you want to access this, you already know how. The link is right there. If you want to see if I can personally do a credit sweep for you, then the link is my740.com. But I gotta go put my kids to sleep, so I will see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful beginning of your week. Go out, be successful, and, you know, get these negative items off. All right, so I will see you later.